Good afternoon, and welcome to the Spring Glen Church Theater Arts Ministry's production of two short plays for the holidays. This is the first show we've done in over 5 years for obvious reasons, I'm sorry to tell you. So gone are the days for the time being of revolving bookshelves and flashy special effects. But they will be back. A couple of housekeeping notes. If you're a good citizen, please turn off your cell phones. Secondly, fire exits, we always cover this. The main way to get out of here is the way you came in, through the back of the hall. You can get out this way if you absolutely must. It's a little cluttered back there, but so far the fire marshal's not here, so I think we'll be fine. Carl. So the restrooms, if you're not familiar with the building, there's one on this floor. If you go out the back exit, take a left and all the way down to the end of the hall, and then there are several on the first floor pretty much directly under this space. If you haven't been here before, you might want to ask a friend. And now we take you to Christmas morning at Ghost Central.
Charlie, your next appointment's here.
Your appointment on Christmas Day?
Yes, you know, the Christmas ghosts. Past, present, future. Marley's with them, too.
That's right, I'd forgotten. What do you suppose they want? The reports aren't due for another week. You don't suppose they've heard the rumors, do you?
Oh, I can't imagine how. It's all been kept very quiet.
Somehow these things get leaked.
Well, if the Christmas ghosts are going to learn sooner or later, I know the board was hoping to wait until after the report of this year's haunting
You know
to make
how
a decision.
things are around here. Once the board gets a decision, it's almost always a done deal. But, you know, I certainly don't need another headache right now. I'm still tying up loose ends from All Hallows Eve.
Oh, the Headless Horseman again, right?
Of course, it's the same thing every year.
Where did he throw it this time?
Oh, who knows? Once he throws that head of his, he has no idea what's going on anymore. You know, he wouldn't even make it back here to Ghost Central if it weren't for his horse.
Well, that would be a problem. But in all honesty, it's what the living expect. The Headless Horseman has to throw his hat at some point. It's just good PR.
Yes, I'm well aware of that. It's just getting old. Year after year, I have to dispatch the ghost riders to scour the land for that head of his. It's been almost 2 months, and they still haven't found it.
Oh, I know. He's still collecting dust out in the waiting room.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is he being a nuisance?
Oh, not at all. I put a potted begonia on his shoulders, and he looks like a plant stand. We'll swap it out when they find it.
If we find it. He might be forced into early retirement if we can't find it soon.
Oh, surely not. He's one of our most popular ghosts.
Maybe he could take a jack-o'-lantern along with him to throw at people. Still, I can't understand how they haven't found it. I mean, all this overtime is killing our budget.
Maybe next year we could use one of those GPS thingies to keep tabs on it.
GPS?
Yeah, it's how the living keep track of themselves now when they travel.
They can't keep track of themselves anymore.
Evidently not. It's a very popular item. We could give it a try.
Might not be a bad idea. Wonder how we could get a hold of one of those thingies.
Oh, leave it to me. I'm seeing someone in supply later today, and he's really into all the latest gadgets from the land of the living. It's all he ever talks about. I'm sure he'd be thrilled to get one for us.
Well, give him the go-ahead for next year. I'll try anything at this point.
Will do. Now, about your appointment.
Ah, right. The Christmas ghosts. Well, let's send them in. Oh, and Effie, could you bring in an extra chair? This may take a while.
I'll bring in 2. They brought their union rep with them.
Their union rep? Uh-oh. That means they've heard the rumors.
I suppose it's possible, but I don't think so. They're in pretty rough shape. I think something went wrong with last night's haunting.
Well, let's get this over with. Oh, and Effie, would you mind sitting in on this meeting and taking notes?
Will do.
Why does this have to be Christmas morning?
Charlie, your appointment.
So, Marley, past, present, future, how are things?
How are things, you ask? These Ghost Central Union members have been through quite an ordeal, and I'm here to represent them in this manner.
Yes, this looks quite serious. What happened?
Actually, you can leave me out of this. I'm perfectly content with things as they are.
You would be. You don't have to take the risks the rest of us do.
Risks? What risks? We're ghosts. The living can't possibly hurt us.
Oh, easy for you to say. You're out of the picture long before the fireworks start.
I'm not sure I understand.
Then permit me to explain. My clients would like to file a grievance.
Grievance? What kind of grievance?
Hostile work environment.
Also, work environment. They work during the Christmas season. It's the most congenial time of the year. Peace on earth, goodwill toward men.
Goodwill towards men, maybe, but not towards ghosts.
Yes, that's right.
I'm still not following you.
It's the subjects, ma'am. They've changed since Ebenezer Scrooge's day.
Well, of course they have. It's the 21st century. But, I mean, the living are basically the same, maybe a little more skeptical. but-
Skepticism is not the problem. They can handle the skeptics. They're trained professionals. It's the believers that are causing the problems.
The believers are causing the trouble. That doesn't make any sense.
Perhaps you'd better start at the beginning.
Very well. Marley, if you please.
Pleasure. As we all know, the hauntings begin with my visit.
Which I don't understand at all. It was fine when we were haunting Scrooge, but these people don't know you from Adam. You know, you could be completely eliminated if you ask me, and then our problem would be solved.
Hold on. I might not know them, but they certainly know me. I mean, who else walks around with chains and money boxes behind them? In fact, I might be the most recognizable ghost of all time, huh?
I know a certain headless horseman who might argue that point, but that's neither here nor there. Do you agree that Marley's visit is the cause of the problem?
Yes, his visit starts everything in motion.
By warning the subject that we're coming.
Excuse me, that's precisely what I'm supposed to do. It's my job to set the stage for the rest of you. Besides, the living need to know why they're being haunted, don't they?
I think it's pretty obvious to them by now. Everybody knows about Ebenezer Scrooge. I think Past could explain the situation during her visit, and then they wouldn't have time to set in these reinforcements.
Reinforcement? What are you talking about?
Well, the living have all these gadgets. When after Marley tells them that we're coming, they have time to prepare.
They have these paranormal experts, and by the time we get there, they have these booby traps set up all over the place.
Paranormal expert.
People who study supernatural phenomena. It's become quite popular down there among the living.
Yes, and they've got all these newfangled gadgets. It's a wonder we get out of there alive.
Well, technically, you're not actually alive.
You know what I mean. Why, poor Past here can hardly breathe.
Again, breathing is not exactly a necessary function for a
You
ghost.
are missing the point. These ghosts have been exposed to a hazardous substance, and you can plainly see their distress is real.
What type of hazardous substance?
They burned sage to cleanse the rooms before we got there. Oh, as the first one on the scene after Marley's warning, poor old Past here bore the brunt of it.
Of course, I should have recognized this as a sage attack.
Yeah, it's like pepper spray for ghosts. All she could do was writhe around moaning and groaning her whole visit.
And all the while, those people are trying to film it for some television show.
They caught you on film?
Well, we don't don't know that for sure, but...
This is serious. This is a covert operation. Nobody but the subject is supposed to see you.
Well, pardon us for slipping into survival mode, but we were just trying to get out of there in one piece.
So what happened next?
Well, since Past was under attack, I thought I should jump in and try to divert their attention. And then they pulled out one of these electronic thingamabobs and started chasing me around.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, it was a little gadget with lights and needles that kept jabbing it at me.
Sounds like an electromagnetic force detector. They're supposed to pick up electrical or magnetic distortions that indicate the presence of a ghost, but they're not supposed to hurt. They're advertised as being completely harmless.
Harmless to the living, maybe, but how many ghosts have you heard endorsing it? They feel like cattle prods to us.
Oh dear, I see your point. Tell me, did they have an EVP recorder as well?
EVP.
It's a type of recorder. They don't work all that well, though. Mostly they just pick up background static.
Oh, yeah, lucky for us, because Past sure had one heck of a sneezing spell in there.
Oh, well, that might not be too bad. A sneeze might not be distinguishable above all the static.
Probably not, but the living got an earful when Present said, "God bless you."
Hey, I was just being polite.
Right, let's mind our manners while we're getting the ectoplasm kicked out of us.
Hey, why don't you cut me some slack? It's not my fault that they pulled out those backpack thingies and came after you with all guns blazing. I tried to warn you.
Oh, what warning? I had no idea what was happening. You flew out of here like a bat out of Hades. And just look at this. Look at this. I'm going to have to go to maintenance and see if they can pry this contraption off of me.
Just what is that thing exactly?
I am not sure. All I know is that when they were hitting me with those lasers, they were trying to force me into it. And I thought I was a goner for sure. But then, Past had a wonderful sneezing fit, and she slimed the guy, and he lost his footing. And so I was able to escape with a minor addition. Oh, thank you, Past, for saving me.
So, where was the subject during all of this?
Are you kidding? He was operating the camera.
So, the haunting wasn't completed? This is not good.
Well, you can hardly blame them.
Yeah, we were ambushed.
Still, a failed haunting is a failed haunting. Oh.
Then you need to do something about it. These ghosts are entitled to a safe environment in which to perform their duties. And that falls under your jurisdiction.
Now, wait a minute. The subject's reactions are beyond our control. It's part of the job. It's in the contract.
Yes, the disclaimer is there, but we argue the legitimacy of this clause. After all, things have changed. When this contract was written, the living didn't pose such a danger to our ghosts.
That's right.
You tell her.
Well, there doesn't seem to be any lasting damage.
Excuse me? No lasting damage? The emotional distress alone is enough for litigation.
Are you threatening to file a suit?
If that's what it takes to keep my ghosts safe.
Getting ridiculous. You all are supposed to be trained professionals. Now, I admit you've had a minor setback.
Minor setback?
Kidding?
Just look at us. We're a wreck. Past is incoherent. Present has been electrocuted. And I might be maimed for eternity.
Not to mention the damage to our reputation. Why, when word gets out about us being bested by those people, we'll be the laughingstock of Ghost Central.
Well, then we'll just have to keep this to ourselves, won't we? I suggest you all take an extended leave of absence until all this blows over.
Oh, so you can sweep it under the rug? Not hardly. We are prepared to go to the board of directors if necessary.
Oh, I don't think that's a very good idea.
Of course you don't. You don't want everyone to know how derelict you've been in your responsibilities.
Listen, if there is any dereliction of duties, it is on them. After all, they're the ones who abandoned their mission.
Only because you didn't provide a safe and secure working environment.
That's right.
You tell her.
I think it might be time to tell them the truth.
You're probably right. It's only a matter of time anyway.
Truth? What truth?
If you must know, the board of directors has been looking for ways to cut costs around here. I'm afraid the Christmas hauntings may be on the chopping block.
What?
Wait a minute. My ghosts are under a union contract.
That's true, yes, but those contracts expire this year. And there's been discussion of not renewing them for another century.
Not renewing our contracts? What are you talking about?
It's not as though it's been a very successful program.
What do you mean? Ebenezer Scrooge was a resounding success.
Scrooge was, yes, but how many true successes have you had since then? The living have become so desensitized to just about everything, and after this fiasco, I'm afraid the board is going to be looking very closely at cutting this program. It's just not cost efficient anymore.
Not cost efficient? Why, how much can you possibly be spending on these hauntings? It's not like we're going to splashy conferences or demanding technology upgrades. We've been making the same salary for a century. We've been wearing the same costumes. Okay, well, they need to be replaced. But it's the first time in a long time, so what's the problem?
The problem is overhead. You ghosts on the front line have no idea what it takes to set up such hauntings. Effie, maybe you'd better explain. You're the one who does a lot of the groundwork.
Well, it really is quite daunting to orchestrate a haunting. First, we need to research the history of the subject. Then we review all the pivotal events of their lives. We interview the ghosts of their associates and persuade them to help us. And then we negotiate the contracts, synchronize the schedules, duplicate the locations where all the original events occurred. Basically, it's a logistical nightmare. And it really is very time-consuming.
And time is money.
Oh, you're not just using this situation as a bargaining chip,
No,
are you?
this
Because
is not
if you
some
are,
kind of ploy. I'm just stating facts, right, Effie?
I'm afraid so.
Well, maybe we can cut some corners.
Okay. How do you propose to do that?
Well, Marley could step down.
Oh,
Wait a minute!
Oh, come on, Marley. Take one for the team.
yeah, we don't really
Take
need
one
you.
for the team! You've gone too
wait,
far!
now, look, we're all on the same team. Remember, we're all on the same team. He comes in every Christmas.
Making Christmas great again!
We all work every Christmas. He comes in a few hours
Everybody
early. We
just
call it
settle
early
down!
hours of Christmas
See?
morning.
This is getting us nowhere.
Oh, bah humbug.
Well, that was a blast from the past.
From the future, you mean? This is the past.
Never mind that. If you want to salvage the Christmas hauntings, we need to come up with some ideas, something feasible. What have you got?
What if we eliminate the overhead? Cut out all the bells and whistles.
How are we going to do that? Those bells and whistles, as you put it, are what we use to reach the subject, to remind them what Christmas is about.
Maybe that's the problem.
What do you mean?
Well, we're not really telling them what Christmas is all about, are we?
Excuse me?
Look, every year we search for a misguided soul in whom we can affect change, right? We show them their history and the error of their ways. We help them confront their present, and then we give them a glimpse of their future so they can see how things might turn out. But is that what we really should be doing?
What are you saying?
Maybe it's time to get back to the basics, back to the beginning.
Back to Scrooge.
No, not to Scrooge. Back to the very beginning,
Wait,
to the first Christmas,
you mean we should take them all the way back
to Bethlehem. Yes, yes, to the story of God's love for mankind and the promise of a Messiah born that night so long ago. Isn't that the story we should be telling?
That would help eliminate a lot of the expenses each year. And the story is eternal.
Because God's love is eternal.
What about the set? What are we talking?
Oh, that should be simple enough. It's just a small stable. That could save quite a bit.
But what about my union members?
Yeah, what about us? Where do we come in?
Well, you could portray the characters in the storyline. We could start with Past as Mary, and she could tell how the angel of the Lord told her that she was going to be the mother of the promised Messiah. And then she could talk about how her betrothed husband, Joseph, didn't believe her at first and had to be convinced in a dream that she was indeed carrying the Son of God.
And then she could share how they had to go to Bethlehem to be registered for taxes. and there was no room for them in the inn, so she had to give birth in a stable.
Okay. What next?
That's when Present could come in as the shepherd.
Oh, I get it. So Past can hand off the story to me when the angel announces the birth to the shepherds. Oh, and I can say how frightened we were out in the fields, but we were so anxious to see the new baby Messiah that we left our flocks and went in search of the child.
That's right. And then you found the child lying in the manger, just as the angel had foretold. And you were so joyous about all that you had seen and heard that you went to spread news of it far and wide.
And then I can jump in as one of the three magi, and I can tell how we discovered a star, and we followed it long distances, and then because we wanted to find the newborn king, and because we thought he must have come from the royal family, we went to Jerusalem and spoke to wicked King Herod, saying, "Where is he that is born King of the Jews?"
Oh, yeah. And then you can tell how Herod instructed you to go to Bethlehem to find the child, but then you were warned in a dream about his evil scheme, so you never went back to him.
This all looks promising. What about costumes?
Oh, well, these costumes need to be replaced anyway. We can just get simple robes from the period. They're easy enough to come by this time of year. I'll get supply on it.
Aren't we, forgetting someone?
Yes, what about Marley? What role could he play in this new scenario?
King Herod.
Oh, yes.
I refuse to play the part of some baby killer. No, you'll have to think of something else.
Oh, come on, Marley. We need this stuff. We need this contract. Be Herod.
I won't be Herod. He was despicable. I might have been a miserable old coot in life, driving hundreds of people into abject poverty, to die miserable deaths. However, I was no murderer.
He could be a donkey. He's stubborn enough.
The angel. The angel. Maybe Marley could do what he's always done, but instead of wearing Scrooge, he could tell the story of God's love for mankind and his promise of a coming Messiah. The angel, he could appear first to Mary, and then to the shepherd, and then the three of you could continue to tell the real Christmas story.
I like it. Everyone gets to keep their job, and the story of the first Christmas gets told. What could be better? Everyone in agreement?
I think the board of directors will like it too. Let's make this official. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Well, if we're all in agreement on this, I say we adjourn this meeting and proceed. Effie, if you would write up the suggestions, I'll send them up the ranks. The rest of you, why don't you take a few days off to regroup, and I'll be in touch with Roberta when the new contracts are ready.
All right.
It's been a pleasure working with you, Charlie.
And also with you. Thanks so much. What I think it
It
means.
sure does. The headless horseman's head has been found. It was in a chimney somewhere down in Virginia. Our good friend from the North Pole just dropped it off for us.
Well, praise be, I can finally finish these reports. Now, if you could just get one of those GPS things for next year.
I'm on it.
Oh, and Effie,
Yes.
great work today. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. And Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. During the 15-minute intermission that follows this, please feel free to hit up that table in the back. We are selling goodies to benefit the Columbus House. See you in 15.